So this is gonna be the world is small, little small world showcase that we had prior to knowing a lot of things that we know now. This, once again, was all done in survival, except one part of it, which I'll get to, as you can see down there. That's that one part of it. This is where you spawn, actually. You spawn on this little platform here. Well, it used to be on the ground, but we made an iron farm. Everything you see is legit, was done in survival, except for the command blocks. The command blocks were done, I don't know, a while later. But all this little setup does, is let Tim and I sleep. So that way, if I was AFKing, because I did a lot of AFKing, if I was AFKing, we would be able to sleep inside of the server. So that's what that would do. That's the only thing that did. This is like our first real Minecraft world. We had to test things. And so one of the things we tested was this is where we spawned, right? So I thought Bedrock was similar to Java in that, your spawn chunks are always active. When we built this, we thought spawn chunks were always active, and we found out they're not always active. We learned that the hard way. So, this thing did work. I guess we took all the iron from it, but this thing did work at the time. It's back when you needed all the beds, and I think the villagers are locked in one of these pods. There they are. Yeah. Transported all with minecarts and whatnot. We learned a lot through this world. This was, like I said, our first real Minecraft world. So what we did on day one, pretty much, was we ran from here all the way down here. And you're going to see a slew of different farms in this world. It's not very big, but there are a bunch of different farms. We ran from here all the way down here. And here was where we made our first little base camp. Inside of here, I remember we camped inside here. I'm just going to destroy, whatever. We camped inside here. We had chests everywhere. And back here, I think we had our beds. Here was a trash can at the time, I think. Yeah, it just went down. I filled it in after a while. But there was a trash can there. We made a mine all the way down there. I'll show you that in a second. Some leftover chests with stuff in it. And we had horses. So we would store the horses and donkeys inside of this place. We made little stables for them just to throw them in. If you head down this way, actually, let's go out here. So the first thing we noticed was the tower. And this was when these guys were first added. And so we wanted to make a farm out of it, so we did. One of the first things we did, though, was set up mini farms, and I stripped all the acacia wood and just made this tiny little thing with bunches and bunches of carrots, because carrots could be made into, this was filled with wheat and sugar cane at one time, but carrots could be made into gold carrots. So we did that. So we ended up making this, and it worked at the time. I'm not sure if it still works, but we got lots and lots and lots of items through AFKing at this stinking farm. And it was annoying, because sometimes you'd be all the way at the top, they would glitch out, the Ravagers would glitch out and you'd die. It was a pain in the neck. As far as storage goes, we'd store the items there, but they would be automatically stored. Let me in, I'll just break it. In here you would have all the totems and whatnot, and the idea was you can take like a piece of armor and immediately throw it in this top chest here. And you'd end up with a lot of armor. So, we doubled it up. Right here was the trash can. So, all the stuff you didn't want. Let's say you didn't want, saddle. You would chuck a saddle in here. I'll chuck all these things. And you would just flick the lever. It turns on the trash can, and it's empty. Just flicked all into lava. So, this was our little setup for this. You can sleep in here. You can get, all your emeralds are coming here. You'd make them into blocks, throw them in your ender chest, and be on your way. Also, this was even before netherite was a thing, so all we had was diamond. And I did pretty well for myself as far as the boxes and everything goes. A lot more organized in this one, that's for sure. But after this was made, this was the first thing we made after this. This was the first thing that was made, because we really wanted one of those farms. We had a little section over here for cows, those guys, and I think chickens were here. Bamboo was a thing too for scaffolding. We really wanted that. We made this later. So this was an old school gold farm. So this was another thing. This was sugarcane. This is an automatic sugarcane farm. It worked with zero tick. It obviously does not work now. But we would use that to get a bunch of sugarcane and a bunch of, for a bunch of sugar, or paper, I believe, for rockets was what that was for. This thing used to work. It does not work anymore at all. As you can see, everything kind of broke. But yeah, there's 4 sections, so it's a bigger version of the one we have on our server. And the storage was right down here. Where's the button? So the storage was right down here. You know, you could sleep in here, do your business. And it had 4 separate sections. All nuggets, flesh, and gold, sorted. So this was our little setup here. And then if anything got overflowed, it would all end up in lava. So if anything went over, it'd automatically be in lava, which most of the time was just this flesh. But yeah, so it worked really, really well for the time that we used it. We loved it. And we would AFK at it. But eventually it broke. Water went all the way down. It used to use sand pushers. But yeah, now this thing is sadly broken. What else can I show you in the beginning? There's a village over there, which is our end, but we didn't do anything in the end at all. We rarely ever do. In here, actually over this way, we went exploring and would come all the way down here. Now, if you notice, there's cobble. I think it's in here. Yep. In this mountain area. We'd come down here. You know, we noticed that there was a skeleton spawner. It's behind there. So the idea is, you know, the skeletons spawn in. Some over there with the skeleton spawner. They flow up. They flow in. They drop here. You kill them. You get a bunch of bones and arrows for whatever your needs are. And here we used to have an enchanting table. And this is where we would store all the bones, arrows, and whatnot that we netted for the server. And we took most of the stuff with us when we moved. We had carrots here. I don't remember why. I think because that's what we used for golden carrots. We just wanted them everywhere. Random storage. Place where you can sleep. And that's really it for this little area. Aside from the horse. So if you drove a horse all the way in here, you can store him in one of these little, you know, compartments. And we have pigs down here. I don't remember why. You know, we just wanted access to food because I think we didn't have a lot of it at the time. But that was that. One of the next things we did, which that one was cool, right? You know, that skeleton spawner worked for a while. So one of the things we did was we started mining. And, you know, we came across caves and whatnot. This is before the new cave update, so it's a lot easier to navigate. I say that as I'm running into walls. We had bubble elevators, which... This one goes down? Yeah. God, it's so slow. But yeah. So you run up here. Obviously, we revamped it. But we mined all the way out here. There was a zombie spawner here we never used because we went this way. So we started going up here. And you come all the way around. You fly all the way through here. And you'll notice there's little bits of redstone. We got lucky here. There was like a 3-way spawner, beds to sleep in. There was a 3-way spawning system. So you turn it on and off. These are where the spiders would come in. This one I think was, zombies. So you'd have zombies in that one. And this one was your skeletons. So this was primarily where we'd AFK. You can AFK right here and all 3 are activated. There was one like right in there. You know, another one and this one somewhere. And then the other one is down low. So you had to go down low to get there. We had an enchanting table, your standard grindstone set up. And it was all activated by a lever, which you could use to turn the systems on and off. So this was where we got the majority of our XP until we had the gold farm. The gold farm was our main source of XP in this world. You know, I don't believe we ever built an ender. Don't think we ever did it. So this is that. I think I should just be able to fly up here and kind of break some stuff, right? Nope, I'm wrong. right? I don't know. I don't really care. We're not coming back in this world anyway. We're done with this thing. But yeah, we learned a lot. This was the one world where we did learn a lot from testing. Like I said, we tried the various ways to make the spawn chunks work, and nothing worked at the time. It was nuts. I couldn't stand it. And then we got, so eventually from here we ended up moving. After mining and living here for a long time, the gold farm was built. I think the gold farm was built after, but we definitely built this first, that first, and those three spawner things first, and this stuff. But the gold farm I think was built after we moved our separate ways. So first, used to just go down into the mine through here and go down the staircase, but eventually we wanted to bring the horse home. So we would take the horse, you run all the way through, and boom, you hit a drop chute. Nice big drop chute. I had a horse die there, which I thought wasn't going to happen. Now in this world we did a lot of mining, so down each of these chutes, there was no stopping. Anywhere I put cobble, that was it. I was done in that section. This, if you go down here, you're gonna notice a big kind of cleared out section right here, or is it back there? It might be back there a little bit, but in one of these areas, I think it was here. Yeah, it was here. We fought a few withers. This is where we did all our wither battling, setting up beacons and whatnot to fight them, because the wither on Bedrock is significantly harder than Java for whatever reason. So that's where we fought the guy, the wither. We stayed down here for a bit too, in this area, just a tad longer. Oh yeah, if you wanted to make your way up, you could just go this way, bubble elevator up there, in case you came through the nether portal, which was the plan. But the nether portal that we thought linked to this doesn't. It links underground, so we never really used it. We never got the chance to really use that. So eventually we did move, and inside of our little nether here, we never made a nether hub, anything like that. But we did make a small little nether kind of highway system where you can just travel from one portal to the other pretty easily. In the new world, I have a lot better plans. So I guess I'll take you by Tim's place first. So over here, we got a nice little starter house. Stop flying. I had to take off this thing. There we go. So here we got a nice little starter house. This is where he followed the tutorial, built this thing, and it's a cute little thing. And I mean, it worked. I don't know how to use all the storage in it, but it worked. Down here, he just started mining, I remember, and mined like the whole bit out with torches and everything, and this is where he got a lot of his materials. He also built a slime farm, which was kind of cool, which worked perfectly. I don't know if it still does, but it worked back then. And this is his whole little system. I don't know if he had an automated storage. He might have. He probably did. This place, his place in particular, went through a lot of renovations. So like I said, this is just the little house you spawn in. I think it's got like 3 floors. There's a little balcony out there you can go, and there might be a little attic up here. Yeah, there's a little tiny attic, which he constructed with the tutorial. And in here, it looks like he just started piling stuff. He got bored and disorganized. You'll notice this. This, obviously, on Bedrock, you cannot make TNT dupers. This was all legit. So, oh my god, this was ridiculous. This certainly was ridiculous. But yeah, he TNT, created TNT and do all the way through. I'll show you other farms we have too. And just blew up an area. I don't even think he knows what he was doing with this area, because he told me he pretty much didn't know what he wanted to do, but this is what he decided to do. And I believe, if I'm right, this is Bedrock. I don't know if it still is in the update. Yeah, see, since we had to update the world to view it, They changed it to cobble, but this was bedrock back then. So this, the whole floor was covered, bedrock and whatnot. And he's got shulkers and shulkers of TNT. He built these little random dwellings here. I don't know what they were for. This one, I believe, was storage, which is a nice one. He found a little tutorial online and started building stuff. Don't know if he ever used it, because it looks like all of his chests are out there. But yeah, at first he was going for this grid pattern, and then it turned into blowing it up. This thing went far. And I know you can't tell, but there was a whole castle here. Like a whole castle. And he built it following a tutorial. He didn't like it, so he tore it down. He was going to build a bridge here. Like, he had walls. He had a whole plan for this area, and just, him and I both just kind of gave up on our plans. I'll show you my base here next, after the farms. He had a little city building project here that he didn't finish. This is the story of our life. We have a ton of projects that we both never finish. But this world's going to be different because I'm sticking with it, and now I'm uploading to YouTube, so I have people that watch me. So it's got to be different for me. This is what he did. He started making a little cave, which was standard. It looks kind of cool, kind of nice. And he had a skeleton farm in his world, in his, in his little base. He had a skeleton farm down here somewhere. He also had a mini iron farm in his base. He had an auto wool collector thing going on here, which worked at the time. It probably still works. Oh, I heard it go off, so yeah, it has to work. Yeah. All this stuff is just what he chose to do. I don't know what all this is. Slabs and building materials for the system, I guess. I think here was his skeleton spawner somewhere over there. Shoots him up, comes down here, you kill him, and it gets sorted or something like that. I don't know where this stuff goes. But yeah, that's that. In here, I don't know what he was doing. I have no idea. Maybe this is where the golems were supposed to go. I'm not sure. But this was definitely the iron farm. This was an iron farm mixed with, or it was supposed to be mixed with a villager trading hall, the one he did, but I think he just used these blocks because this one was the cheap one to build, so he decided to build that. And yeah, he had plans to keep going, just never did. So now we're gonna go back into the Nether and show you just a couple more farms. What was down there? Oh, it looks like he tried to make a brewing area, maybe. Now we're going to show you just a couple more farms that we built. We didn't build too much in this world. This was all in the span of maybe 6, 7, or 8 months, of us continuously playing. But now it's a little different now. I have a full-time job. I mean, if I could play Minecraft full-time, I would. But that's not in my foreseeable future for a bit. Come this way, up, and we're almost there. So now we're in a nether fortress. And if you notice, everything's kind of, buttoned up. So we did that because we wanted a lot of wither skeleton spawning. We buttoned everything off that we could in this area, like just about everything except for down there. Apparently I chose the one spot we didn't button. Most of the things are buttoned, I guess, or what we thought was most of the things, but we had decent spawn rates, and they're not hard to kill, so there's that. Never built a blaze farm, didn't really need it, although that's something we're doing in this world. You'll notice right here, there's the staircase. You follow the stone bricks all the way up. There's the staircase, and the staircase leads to a small area where the farms are. I believe this is where the farms are. Now, in addition to that, this goes down. Before we go in there, let me show you. This goes down here. This is where guardians, and apparently we still have items. This is where guardians will come in. This guardian farm was insane. We have potions of harming here. All the trash you want goes in there. this was nuts. You can repair your tools in less than like I think a minute or two by just throwing a potion of harming. Now this thing crashed the server several times. You can't we couldn't AFK out here more than I think it was 3 or 4 times before breaking the server. Not 3 or 4 times, sorry. About 4 or 5 minutes before breaking the server. That was an issue we ran into. And you don't realize you crashed the server until you go back into the nether and it's all laggy, and then boom, the server crashes on you. So you notice we got our packed ice here. Well, I think we started putting blue ice too, but we made a little boat road. The idea is you just kind of swim your little self on down here. There is a guardian temple down there. I don't even know if I noticed that before. We're going to ignore the thing to my left right now. We're going to just keep flying straight. And your AFK platform was up here. I wanted to put pillars on this. Little, pillars to hold it up. Never did. This world's going to be different. I'm trying my best on it. And I'm sticking with it. Here was the Guardian farm, which I don't know if it still works. But the idea was you AFK up there, they all spawn into these little things, and they get teleported into that one portal into the nether, and you kill them all. And I'm telling you, if you just AFK'd for 5 minutes, that's enough to crash the server. I would have an extra account. I'd have my little phone, and I'd have an account up there AFKing, so that way when I'm in the nether, I can kind of log out and see where the lag's at. So I do that. I would log out when I'm ready and boom, kill them all with the splash potion. Back here, you'll notice there is a cobblestone or stone brick leading this way. This was my first attempt at a real house. I'm not too happy with it. Before, I was insanely happy with it. Don't ask me why. Not happy with it now. Like I said, this is our real first Minecraft world. Give me a break. A little seating area, a little kitchen, Come out here, look at the water, This is where we stayed. What's down here? Nothing. But this was where we stayed. So while we were building the Guardian farm, the ice road, and that thing, which we'll go to in a second, this is where we stayed, and I brought all the materials. So there's beds here, and I stored all the materials in shulkers up here. There used to, there's shulkers for stone, buttons, redstone, glass, everything. Sugarcane farm that we can transport out here. Everything we needed, so that way we can build the farms. This is where we lived, and then we'd swim all the way out here. This monstrosity. This is a small version of a creeper farm. Okay? This is where our creepers would spawn in. I'm positive it still works because we built it in a second world that we had. This is a creeper farm that we had. They would all flow down. You'd fly up here, obviously, with your elytra. That was like the only way to get in here. Little AFK hut for you. Sugarcane. Like I said, zero tick used to be a thing. It's not anymore. So we zero ticked a lot of sugarcane to get a lot of paper. All the gunpowder would flow into here, which there's still plenty of. And yeah, we're set on rockets. Like for this world, we were set. And that's it for this little farm area. The second world we had was a little better when it came to farms. Last thing I'm going to show you is my base. The one way I could build in this game seemed to be underground because it was the easiest way for me to build, so that's what I did. So this nether portal room doubled as my ore breaking room. This is a Fortune 3 F3 pickaxe. That's where I would store, this is where I would break all the ores. If I had any diamonds or whatever, I would, do that. I had a rail box, I had a bunch of junk. And you'd walk out. I kind of want to show you how it was before. So I'm just going to fly out here. So this is where, when I first moved in this area, I had like another portal down here somewhere. or I had it up there, something like that. But this is where I started. Everything I owned in the game was just here, and we moved it all over in chess form with Donkey. I don't know where my donkey's at, but everything was just moved over in chess form with the donkey. That was how that was done. Down here was a mine, and right here, at the time, I stored all my shulker boxes in physical form right here. I didn't have any extra shells at the time, and you'll see how that turned out. So this is where we start. Every day I get on, and I'd be so happy to start chipping away at my project. The first thing I built was here. You can't see it because I got rid of it, but there was a big farm here, and I think it was for bamboo because I needed scaffolding. And so it was a bunch of stuff for bamboo. A little farm here set up for bamboo. I had a villager set up in one villager, like I said, set up in this house back here with mending. And so I had all the stuff I needed to be able to trade with that villager to get mending over and over again in that chest when I was doing it. And yeah, so these two things came later. This was my project. All of this was mined out by hand. This was my proudest project I ever did in Minecraft. Okay, I don't know what I was calling it, but I had a name for it. I was calling it something cool, but now I can't think of it. But now it's just the circle. So this was an incomplete project, obviously, that took me quite a while to even get going. Like originally I wanted to go down to bedrock from here. This is why 72. I wanted to go down all the way to bedrock, but I stopped at Y20 because I wanted some leeway to go down further if I wanted to, which I ended up doing. And how it would work was I had a beacon, apparently 2 at the time, and I would just create a scaffolding wall with this pattern here, and I would just chip away like you kind of see here. I would chip away, go up and down, chip away, chip away, chip away. That's how it would work. These two are running haste. My pride and joy is the circle, okay? Super proud of this. All the sand we got was reused in the build, as you can see, with this stuff, with wood. It went through a few design changes, actually. I had glowstone all the way around first. And then I was like, well, that doesn't look too good. So I changed it to wood, and I liked wood better. And then I added these little crosses in, which now I think look like crap. But then they look great. No, I didn't build this building here. My brother-in-law did. He was like maybe 10 or 11 at the time, and he thought my circle was like one of the coolest things that he had seen because he had never, seen anything quite like this. He stole a couple items. He had a lot of fun, right? Well, I employed him. So while he was on my server, I would pay him diamonds. I'd give him gear. I'd reward him with an elytra, a pickaxe, really, really good at child labor. It was fantastic. So he mined a lot of this, but I kept the profits like a good businessman. Here was the tree farm. It was nothing fancy. It was you plant a 2x2, you go up there, you jump off, you mine it down, and it's picked up all the saplings and everything with the minecart that goes around and around. Apparently it stopped now, but yeah, that's how that would work. Down here was a tiny little AFK hole. You come down here, you AFK. That was that. There's tons and tons of shulkers. This is back when you could dupe shulkers, but you couldn't create a shulker farm. And so Tim and I, the only thing we duped in the world was shulkers. Tons of shulkers, which we would never, ever use. We had all these and never used them. Not even me for mass storage. You'll notice this building here. This building, yeah, I remember that. That was my beacon box. I called it my beacon box. This building housed villagers, and they would sit in here and they would breed. Now, this last time it was used for mushrooms. Yeah, it was used for mushrooms, and I think we were curing that mending villager over and over. I don't know what happened to him. But we got this villager trading. It's the same villager trading hall in our current world, or the same villager breeder in our current world. We got that. See a bed up there. We got that from over there. So I mine carted all these guys into there and started breeding them. That's how that worked. These two are iron farms. The idea was you'd sit here in AFK right here, and you'll notice a massive hopper line from both. Yeah, so you'd AFK inside of here, right? Inside of there. You'd AFK. Here you would store all your items you had on you. You'd sit there and AFK and get tons and tons of iron. The issue was back then there wasn't tons and tons of iron. It wasn't like it is now where you can get like a ton of iron ingots in one AFK session. I would AFK for 8 hours at the time and just get 4.5 stacks on Bedrock. Okay, it sucked, but I did it, and this whole area allowed me to build one of the things I'm most proud of, my storage system. So it's totally not perfect. Like I said, this was kind of a learning world for me, and Tim both. Here's your output chest. So these are the items that at the time I didn't store. They may be sorted now, but they weren't sorted then. You would come up here. You'd have to come all the way up. You'd have shulker boxes on you. Okay? You throw them in this thing, hit the button, boom. It does its thing. And the empty shulkers, I think, would go... I don't know where they would go. They go somewhere. Oh, yeah, they would end up back in that chest. They'd run down the hopper line. All this stuff is legit, too, that we got. All these hoppers, everything. So we ended up with all these different items. Or I ended up with all these items being sorted. I wanted every item sorted in the game. And then I slowly realized that was stupid. So we did sort big ones, like sandstone, but never had bulk storage. Never had real shulkers. These barrels at the time were for shulkers, but I never really used much of them. Yeah, there's random shulkers everywhere. So that's how this would work. Now, some items like cobble and definitely stone, because I used a lot of silk touch when mining, I had to make up a way for bulk storage because I'd never used the shulkers for it. It was too much work. I had andesite, diorite, everything I could need to build anything I had. Right here was a beacon, so I could take one of those beacons, place it right here, and boom, it shoots up and it goes all the way up, and boom, you have speed or haste or whatever you want. Random shulker boxes. We stored all those blocks. Over here was wood. I stored this, the planks, the logs, the slabs, the stairs, and that way you could just go and find those. And this one would just be random items that oak or whatever whatever it be would go there. I would throw those in manually, and I did that for all the types of wood at the time. Now I think you got mangrove and netherwood and stuff, but we didn't have that back then. Over here, I was working on the fences and the bushes and things and saplings. I don't think I ever finished. Maybe I finished these or was in the process of finishing these. But yeah, so there's that. Didn't really ever stock up too much on the wood. What's this? Items that need to be sorted. A lot. So that's how I kept track of that. Down this way, most important redstone items for me were like hoppers and stuff like that, comparators. I never stocked up on these things. That was the problem. And everything was so expensive. Except for the buttons. We always had a lot of buttons. That creeper farm needed a ton. And this area was all the mob drops. You'd pick up all your mob drops. I did overly stock up on slime balls. That was the only one that had like excess storage. Maybe string. Yeah, string too, because the cats from that thing would just they'd all come in the system. Slabs and stairs. You could store any slab and any stair in this system here, and the full block stone slab or stone block and all that stuff. Down here was kind of your end and your magma and stuff. It would all flow through from that central area there. So, I mean, the system worked. It is not beautiful. This is not how I would design it today. I would make it better and probably better looking. But at the time, like I said, I thought this looked great. I thought this was like, woohoo. Like I did, I did pretty good. But now it's like, I could probably do better. This way was your redstone, your ores, okay? Iron from the iron farm would store in these chests here. Your little 5 things of iron. Any iron ore we got from mining would store in here. And then I just load up on iron ingots and hope that I had enough to make a ton of hoppers. That was the goal. Always make hoppers because I always needed more storage. And here, this was the nether portal room that I showed you earlier. Here's another set of armor. An extra set. This was a temporary, what's that called? Little burn thing. Down here, I wanted to build a temporary mine, so I just made this little opening here and, designed it. These are all decorative. I think one maybe, yeah, this one's functioning, and this one had a bunch of empty shulkers. The idea was I take a bunch of empty shulkers with me, pop it open, and I mine down the hall. And if any of them are open or have a torch, I know I didn't go through it yet. That's how that would work. So it was nothing fancy, but it worked for my needs at the time, which, just a ton more. All decorative stuff. That's all that stuff really is. Now, this base was a nice idea. I loved it, but it wasn't like what I wanted. Like, what I noticed, all the YouTubers that I would watch, they built cool things and they looked good. I just built a cool thing, but it looked like crap. I thought this looked good at the time, but now it looks like poop. I don't like poop, and I haven't met anyone beside my dog that likes poop. So now we're gonna go this way. Alright, so down here, this part was pretty cool. I actually like this. So it's really laggy now, but back then it wasn't laggy. You'll notice there's a bubble elevator and the downvader thing. So over here, you had a pumpkin and melon farm that would go all the way. It'd be triggered by this flying machine, which probably doesn't work now. Oops, it's not that, is it? What is it? It's in here. Oh, I guess it does work. So the idea was it'd break all the pumpkin and melons, and then eventually it'd come back this way. All the items that are shot back from those hopper minecarts that you see, they end up flowing down this stream. They all get ejected. Let me see if I can get back there. So I hooked up a system. What the heck? Okay, that's not working. So the idea is they come back, and once they come back, they're ejected into these hoppers. They flow into the hoppers into a little ejection machine, and they get ejected into this water stream. This water stream goes all the way down and around, up, and into a sorting system. So those pumpkins and melons would all be sorted automatically. You can see carrots here and a bunch of other stuff. Now, if you leave the area, this thing breaks. You have to stand like right here for it to fully work, because it's as far as render distance can take you in Bedrock. I got that from Navy Nexus, I remember. These were from Navy Nexus, but this was my own design because I took 2 of his farms and stacked them. So I took his zero-tick bamboo farm for fuel and his zero-tick kelp farm to make even more fuel. And I, put 2 of them together. And, so the idea was the kelp that burns. It doesn't work now. But the kelp that burns gets shot out and goes and is stored automatically inside of here. What's in here? I don't know. Paper and random junk. That's the one thing with this this world. There's tons of junk everywhere. This was a zero-tick sugarcane farm with the same thing. Hoppers into a little ejector thing. It would flow out into this, and be sorted, just like everything else with sugarcane. We'll get to that. This, off this room, I just, like I said, thought it was neat looking. I'd probably change it now. Made wheat, and I was gonna go carrot. You know, the further down I go, I was gonna go carrot and whatnot in the other corridors. I never did. Up here, this also has an elevator. Up here is your hallway, which I was gonna decorate. Once again, never did. Full of unfinished projects. Nothing in this world is finished. I had a horse who survived. I remember because I knew I was gonna keep him. He fell off the top. Fell all the way down to this floor, and didn't die. So I knew he was a keeper. So I stored him in there. I used to have a staircase running up. Tons of cows for meat because we didn't village or trade, and I think I stored some stuff. Yeah, there's seeds and wheat and random junk everywhere. That elevator just leads down, and in here is I called it the jail cell. Did have a piston door. I had to change it when I was moving villagers from here up to those farms. They're still loaded. They are still here. I was going to get all of these guys and make 4 iron farms, but I didn't do it in this world. As you can see, filled with unfinished projects. Yeah, floor scaffolding because I knew mobs didn't spawn on it, and I torched the heck out of it, so that really helped. And I believe that's it. I tried to go with the, I had bushes and vines, kind of everywhere in here, making it feel like a overgrown area, which I liked. But that's it. That's literally it. So this is a sign, that you should finish your projects, because I don't. And imagine what this could have become. I could have done so much with this, but Tim and I took a break for months, and I never wanted to come back. Plus, this is daunting. Mining all this, you know how boring that is? Especially, it doesn't look like much, right? If you take it row by row. But, when you have a row of 5, right, that go here, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you multiply that, because it wasn't always down that low. I made it down that low by mining all the sand. It was up here. So you do 6 times freaking however many layers this is, 50 layers or so, then that's a lot of blocks. That's too many blocks. You also got to multiply times the length. It's a lot. So it was daunting. It was frustrating too. And I always finished the walls as I was going too. So that's why these are incomplete. I knew what I wanted to do, but it was just a lot of extra work. This world will always be a reminder that I need to finish my projects. Oh, Lord.